following contains violence, coarse language, and adult situations not suitable for minors. Viewer discretion is advised.
Brutal!
Are we gonna make somebody's head explode?
No. Well, probably some Last Jedi defender. But hello everyone, welcome to the somewhat weekly podcast, the occasionally weekly podcast, the if I don't feel like it, it doesn't happen podcast. That's cool, Whisper. Thanks for dropping in. But from the title, you can probably guess what today's topic is. I wanted to title it this like the death of Lucasfilm, or not the death of Lucasfilm, like the destruction of the funeral for George Lucas's legacy, but I feel like that's a bit too clickbaity. So the destruction of Lucasfilm works. But more to my point, it occurred to me as I found out the news that Willow was being removed from Disney Plus.
Oh no.
Hi,
That's
Jelly.
horrible.
Yeah, the I don't know what YouTube has had problems with notifications forever and a day, so I'm not very surprised. But I found this news and I was like, huh. Well, that's what fitting considering that the series itself was garbage and the movie itself and the movie that it's based off of was just okay. But it led me to a wider conclusion that number one, I don't think Kathleen Kennedy liked George Lucas all that much. And the second thing is that as how sad it is that the man himself is still alive and has had to watch his entire creative world, his entire creation be picked apart and sold or be torn apart and destroyed. Like as I was coming to this conclusion, I felt genuinely bad for George Lucas. And the fact that he had to watch as Star Wars flopped at the box office for the first time ever with Solo. Like they got return viewers for The Rise of Skywalker, but everybody knew that would be everybody knew that would be a shit show. Like after The Last Jedi, there was nothing left for
You right there?
Was I not talking? Hello?
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
You were talking about The Last Jedi.
Okay, sorry. I had to jiggery pokery with my technical settings. But anyway, so Star Wars was the first victim, I think.
Yeah.
With the inclusion of The Last Jedi. So The Last Jedi comes out. And we were all super jazzed for the oh, yeah, we were all super jazzed for The Force Awakens. We were all about it, and we were like super excited to have new Star Wars films after what was it, 8 or 9 years of nothing. Like, because when did the Revenge of the Sith come out?
2005.
2005. Okay, yeah. So, and then not Last Jedi. 2015.
Yeah, it's Force Awakens.
All right, Joe Crazy. Been a minute since you've been in here.
Yes. Yes. Buenos tardes, Jose Loco.
But so The Force Awakens comes out, and everybody's super jazzed. Like, but as time goes, as you know, and we're all excited to see what's next. We get indication that hey, we're you know, like hey, we've got this new director guy on the new director guy, and as the interview sort of slowly trickled in, we began to we sort of saw, like, I can't remember if interviews came out before The Last Jedi or after it. But interviews with the cast of The Last Jedi, especially Mark Hamill, who I know he doesn't like to be dragged into this conversation. But with Mark Hamill basically saying, like, I don't like what you did with my character with Luke, like this is not how he would behave. Ava had to treat him like a whole new character, that mess. And then we saw The Last Jedi, and among its many, many problems, the audience sort of came to realize, like, oh, this is shit. Why are we watching this? And so the next movie to follow it, Solo, flopped to the box office for the first time ever in Star Wars history. But Disney was not to be deterred. So in between the Rise of Skywalker and Solo, they began plans for TV series. And I cannot remember for the life of me if Mandalorian season 1 came out before the Rise of Skywalker or after it. Regardless, Mandalorian season 1, and it comes out. Everyone loves it. It is the first spark of hope that maybe Disney will do something good with Star Wars.
It's really weird that they went with an original character instead of just making him Boba Fett.
I think it was because they couldn't get the actor until
Yeah,
Book of Boba Fett.
I guess for whatever reason, Dave Filoni just seems to be allergic to the idea of Jango and Boba being Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's I never saw the episode of Clone Wars, but I've seen the clip. So apparently, Jango Fett's not a Mandalorian. He just got the armor somehow.
Yeah, that makes it better.
It's so fucking weird because I mean, looking at it from a meta perspective, the Mandalorian armor is modeled after Boba and Jango Fett's armor. So
Mhm.
it's really so you'd think logically, okay, they're also Mandalorian. No, I guess not.
Yeah. So The Mandalorian season 1 comes out. Everybody loves it. Season 2 comes out. Everybody still loves it. We had the Gina Carano mess. So people were very wary about season 2 and what was going on. So season 2 goes, and it's okay. It was very middling from what I remember, or because I should have tried to rewatch a little bit but I didn't. And then season 3 came out, and I watched all of season 3, and season 3 was bad. Like, from forgetting why we did things to go places, it is very much it is no longer a movie of, it's no longer a TV series of Mandalorian does things to, find his, to, like, does odd jobs and is trying to deliver this baby to the right people. Well, no, it's, we want to reconquer Mandalore. It's, I took off my helmet because I was saying goodbye to the thing, to my son. and excuse me, I just ate. I want to say goodbye to my son. That makes me no longer a Mandalorian. So now I have to. So now, oh, I have to go. Well, bathe in these waters on Mandalore. But Mandalore's a husk, so I have to make sure that I can actually do that. I need I need the assassin droid back, but the assassin droid's broken. But don't worry, this random junk lady has a astromech that we can use, that I can use. Oops. And so on and so forth. It's like the plot doesn't matter, and then this episode makes zero sense. Lizzo and Jack Black basically live on a separatist on a on a paradise world where all the labor is done by robots and everybody is just lazy, except the machine workers, because they're machine workers. And so the Mandalorian basically drops off the grid in terms of viewing figures. No one watched this after like the big, like really kind of moment of this episode. Viewing dropped off. Nobody wanted to watch this. And then finally, the last nail in the coffin was this: removing Willow. Why? Because Willow, the series, was god awful. It was bad. But that brings me sort of to my larger point, which is is that I have no basis for this in actual fact. It is just my opinion based upon what has happened. I don't believe Kathleen Kennedy liked George Lucas's worlds or liked George Lucas's legacy. Because if you have respect for something or George Lucas, if you have respect for someone's creation, you do your best to enhance and preserve the core of that legacy. It's like the Peter Jackson films are literally the best example of this. Like,
Well,
everything.
for Lord of the Rings, at least.
Yes, for Lord of the Rings. Like, preserving the legacy that was meant for that was meant to be communicated through the author's creation. And that's what you have to do. And so it's when you have things like Willow, things like Solo, things like The Last Jedi, it becomes somewhat hard to deny that whoever is involved in these projects does not respect the author, the creator's intent or vision or core aspects of the world. It's why Disney has changed so much about Star Wars lore, and it's why in Willow they basically destroyed every character in there except for the female ones. And so, with that said, what can we expect from the last bastion of George Lucas of George Lucas's sort of filmography and creative worlds than Indiana Jones? Yes, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was not a good outing for that, but every serial every every character has like that bad, every serial character has that bad book or bad scene, that sort of thing. So it's not irreparable, But Indiana Jones recently came out, and this is one of the reviews. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny review. Time is of the essence in a sequel that gets old fast. It goes without saying that James Mangold, who I guess is the director behind Dial, is no Steven Spielberg, and it would be wildly unfair to hold any Hollywood director to that standard. On the contrary, there's something kind of admirable about the fact that Mangold found the chutzpah to close the book on the Bearded One's signature franchise. What he didn't find was a compelling reason to reopen that book in the first place. Not only is Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny an almost complete waste of time, it's also a belabored reminder that some relics are better left where and when they belong. If only any previous entries in the series had taken great pains to point that out. For a moment, it's important to note that the failure of this latest movie is much less to do with his talents as a filmmaker than it does with the time in which he's been asked to apply them. Mangold is as worthy an heir to Spielberg's crown as anyone working at the studio level today. I very much disagree with that. The most eclectic set pieces in the Dial of Destiny, all of which are crammed into the opening 45 minutes, display the same charismatic flair and competence behind the camera that helped the vastly underrated likes of Night plus Day to punch so high above its weight class. No, the biggest or at least most evident difference between Spielberg and Mangold is that one of them would never have allowed himself to make anything this stale, and one of them probably wasn't given any other choice. So you can probably gather from the review, and I can actually probably pull up the trailer for this film. I don't remember if we ever did a reaction to it.
You mean for the movie?
Yeah.
No, I think we tried to do it once.
But like you can already see like, oh, yeah, this is kind of shit. And you know what's funny is I bet if we were to look back, we'd see all of these same sites singing the fucking praises of The Last Jedi. Like, it's so kind of insane. And it's why I felt the need to illustrate this tragedy of how George Lucas created worlds. He created characters and he created icons that people remember. People remember Willow, even if it wasn't one of his more popular things. People remember Indiana Jones. They remember Short Round. They remember the Kali Ma, the boulder bit, the running from the natives as they shoot poison darts at you. Ooh, these things have been aped by media for years. And to create something that iconic, you have to love it. And this is why I'm of the opinion that Kathleen Kennedy does not like George Lucas's world and George Lucas's work. It's
It doesn't line up with her ideology.
there's that, but it's also like an act of malice. Like just because something doesn't line up with your ideology, you don't necessarily have to ruin it. Like to do what she has done with Lucasfilm is because here's the thing. The signs were there that you had stepped wrong with Solo. The signs were there that you were going in a terrible direction with Solo. And here's the thing. Solo came out in 2017. Which means that
18.
or 2018, which means that what likely is likely means is that Willow was likely in pre-production. So they were likely still casting. Hi Moxie. They were likely still doing casting, doing scripting, like funding, location securing, like all of this stuff. And maybe even potential script writing. They were doing all of this stuff around this time. Or at least, within that same time period. And you've got to wonder, like, you see this as the person who's helming the project. The Last Jedi wasn't if a financial boon, but a colossal audience failure that literally split and divided its Star Wars fandom to the point where there are still people that fight about it today. You can see all of this because, and you know how we know they can see all of this? Because they made articles at the time firing back at these audiences. They did it for Willow. They're going to do it for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. I guarantee it. They did it for Solo. They did it for Rogue One. And they attacked the audience. The audience got sick of it. They did it for Mandalorian. They did it for Mandalorian when people were like, why are Lizzo and Jack Black in Star Wars? They appear, they destroy any immersion we had. And now we have to sit and watch them try. We have to sit and watch Jack Black, who acts circles around Lizzo. And Lizzo, who expresses things as about as, deeply as a post. So there has to be some sort of act of malice behind this, is my opinion, because it cannot be explained by ignorance. Like it cannot be explained by ignorance because Kathleen Kennedy is aware of what the actions of what the fandom as a whole thought of her of what she had helmed, what she had influence over. And so what this tells me is that when the Dial of Destiny does go to public release, because right now I looked today, it's got a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes as a critic score. 51%. If this movie came out even like 3 years ago, would you believe that a 51% would be attached to any Indiana Jones property?
Nah, I would have thought that critics would just shield for it.
Exactly.
Actually, that's what I was expecting for this one.
I know, right? Like, so either, and one of the things is they'll still shill for it. And they are, but they're shilling in a different way. Hi, Tyrant King. So to summarize, I saw a video on YouTube this week about Willow getting removed from Disney Plus, and I was like, it's kind of a sad thing that George Lucas and all that that George Lucas has to live through the destruction, the absolute devastation of the characters and worlds he created. Like, I genuinely think in a few years, George Lucas is going to be that older guy. He's not going to care what anybody thinks. He's going to come out and be like, I was so wrong. I should not have done. I should not have I shouldn't have sold my company. I shouldn't have sold Lucasfilm. I should have remained in control. Well, but here's the other thing: Lucas was supposed to, like, he was supposed to helm the three movies, that the three Star Wars movies,
Mm.
according to rumor.
Yeah, yeah, I know he had his own trilogy in mind, but he gave them his ideas and they just ignored it.
Exactly. Like, because why would we listen to the creator when we're so much better? We're modern and, have wider audience.
Oh yeah, before I forget, did you know that like Bob Iger pretty much manipulated Lucas into selling? Like
I am not surprised.
he admitted to it in his autobiography.
I am not surprised.
He-
Does it describe like how he did it?
I don't remember. I just know that he talked to Lucas into selling.
Yeah. Netflix is the usual suspect. Like, so, oh, oh. Well, have you heard of this
Uh,
show?
yeah, I think I have. It's like the woman gets pregnant with the devil's child.
No. Um, so it is, I think you might be a little bit right. But basically, like, it's about this girl, and one of the first scenes in and one of the first scenes in the show is this teenage girl getting her period.
Um,
Straight up, you see it.
like
And
what you see her what like bleeding into the toilet or something.
nope, she bleeds into her jeans.
Hmm.
And it's just like, what the hell?
What's the rating for, what's the rating for it?
I have no idea, but I did, like, we watched the first like 5 minutes of it, and it was me, Ryan and
You and
Lori,
your roommates.
yeah, watched it. Within that first 5 minutes, after that scene played, we were like, nope, we're done. That was gross. I think it's like her dad is supposed to be an angel and her mom is a devil, something like that. But like, so back to we need to get back on topic. But Willow, like, Willow wasn't a smash hit in 1988. Turned a profit, but was panned. They spent a bunch of money on marketing. Critics were mixed about it. Again, there's been a change in the winds recently, in that a lot of the critics are starting to be, honest. And part of me is like, I wonder if you have another motivation for this. And then I realize, oh yeah, you definitely do, but I don't know if it involves the fans or not. But yeah, Willow didn't attract an audience. It's, it's probably because of, all the garbage that it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like what happened in this show. I just know that it's
In
just like
Willow.
yeah, I just know that it's like just generic Tumblr crap.
So what happens in Willow is a lesbian princess and a lesbian knight join a baker, Willow, his best friend, and some sort of thief and a soy boy prince to go save the lesbian princess's brother who has been captured by the evil. And the witch from the original movie is about to come back. She is about to be resurrected and come back so that she can take over the kingdom. So lesbian princess and soy boy prince are supposed to be married to strengthen their two kingdoms against this threat that they know is coming. But lesbian princess doesn't like the soy boy prince and doesn't believe that she should have to be married because and doesn't believe she has to be married because marriage is a form of de-empowerment from women. And
Sorry, woman, you're born into a monarch. You're born into a monarchy. That's how it goes.
Like, that's what Despero kept saying. It was like, if you don't want to be married to him, if you don't want to have an arranged marriage, why don't you abdicate? And then, of course, over the series goes on, and they face, many trials and tribulations, but they're never really in any danger because no, the male characters are in danger because Willow's best friend, while he could save him from the evil knight from the evil, well, he doesn't because he doesn't want to use magic because he'll fall over. Straight up, that is his reasoning as to why he doesn't save his best friend. And then, of course, we find out that and then by the end of the series, the prince who was, this kind of guy, a really cool guy. He was very moral, very upstanding, had principles, was like, I want to be the best king I can because that's the right thing to do. And it was basically towards the end, Willow became a story whose central thematic conflict is that of selfishness versus principle. And what the writers in that thematic conflict came to, and the conclusion that the writers in the thematic conflict came to, was that selfishness should win out. Always. You should always be selfish. Or that base desires will always win out over principle, because the prince, who turns evil, and then the prince drinks liquid evil. Well, and then the main character, the baby from the first movie, she's all grown up now. And so she's a powerful sorceress, and she drinks the evil juice, but says no, basically. And of course, since no means no, she's just immune from the evil. Well, but that's what happens in that series. Is like the central thematic conflict becomes men bad, women good. And then that selfishness and self-interest are better than principle.
Yeah, so I saw that when the show was announced that it got canceled, I saw that Bounding Into Comics did an article about it. And one of the things they brought up is that they brought up that the show normalized, and I quote, normalized the sin of sodomy. And I'm just here reading it I'm just looking at it going, dude, this show has 1,000,001 problems, and you pick the one that only upsets the Bible thumpers.
So I tried to find. Hold on, let's see. There we go. Okay, I found it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Hold on. I saw this and tried to find this earlier, but I couldn't. I guess I was just Googling the wrong thing. So hold on. A new report claims that Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm dropped the axe on their Disney Plus Willow series after just one season. The report comes from someone at Nelly and Andreva at Deadline, who writes, "There will be no second season of Willow Disney Plus's live action original series based on the 1988 fantasy film directed by Ron Howard." No wonder that movie's so weird. Ron Howard's a freak. Like the more I learn about this man and like what he stood for and what he was about, like the freakier he is. Like he's the guy that started Scientology.
That's L. Ron Hubbard.
And then how the hell do I know Ron Howard?
He's a film director. He did The Grinch. He did Solo.
Mm.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard's been dead for a while.
Oh yeah, so these are the three henchmen people. Good Lord, child. Stop chasing the thing that skitters around the room. The series was a rating disaster. The first two episodes premiered on November 30th at Disney Plus and failed to crack Nielsen's top 10 streaming. In fact, the series ranked less than 345 million minutes viewed, which was at 10th ranked, which was what 10th ranked the Santa Clauses brought. Ugh, that's such a weird sentence. Okay, so basically, this thing had less viewing minutes than the Tim Allen Santa Clauses. Don't know if you've ever seen those or rewatched those. They're kind of bad now.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I watched a little bit of the series, and yeah, I dropped it when they started bringing feminism into it.
You mean in the first 5 minutes?
Yes, like as Mrs. Claus thinks it's sexist that her name is Mrs. Claus while her husband is Santa Claus. I guess she thinks she doesn't have a name, and like, bitch, Santa Claus is not a name either. That's also a title.
Yeah, literally, it's literally a title.
Like, yeah, like his real name is Scott Calvin.
It didn't get better from there. The third episode debuted on December 7th, and like its premiere, it did not chart on Nielsen's top 10 and streaming original programs list. In fact, the 10th ranked spot in Nielsen's original chart was Crime Scene: The Texas Killing Fields. Oh, dude. So, fun story. You know where my parents live.
I believe so.
Yeah, so they live. So in order to get to their house, I have to drive by that. I have to drive like right by where this shit happened. It's kind of insane. 287 million minutes. Meaning the series never broke the top 10. Not only were people not watching this series, but those who were not enjoying it. The series received 5.6 out of 10 ratings from nearly 3,000 IMDb viewers. Guess where the 7,000... Hey, look. Look. That's quite a lot of 10-star ratings. I wonder if there could be anything to that. Huh. On Rotten Tomatoes, the series had a 66% audience score. Like here, and this is another thing. Like this shift where critics are now like calling out shit for being garbage is recent. Like within months, not even like not even like at the turn of the year. This happened like in fucking April is when this sort of shift happened. Like these are all shill reviews. Absolutely 100%. like shill. Most of these would be shill. Are shill reviews. And then I don't know how to explain the audience score. Nostalgia, probably. Excuse me. But these were shill reviews, and now you have people saying that the Dial of Destiny is going to be stale. Could you imagine a critic saying that last year about any sort of social justice-y major Disney, Marvel, like anything Disney touched was gold to these people? Well, less than 3 months ago. Like, could you imagine a critic saying that any property of Disney's is stale, like
Nope.
unentertaining?
Nope. I would not. I don't. I don't think any critic would dare challenge Disney if they don't want to go to special screenings.
Exactly. Which tells you how bad it gives the more this happens, the more insight we have into the inner workings of Disney and Hollywood as a whole. Because and this is happening for the Little Mermaid too. The live action Little Mermaid, they're rimming that shit apart. They're tearing it apart. The critics are.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are. Now, I will preface that and say they're criticizing the CGI and the inclusion of that, and it's like, well, it sort of defeats the purpose of a live action remake if you just CG everything. And then they criticize the plot about how it's like not entertaining, kind of weird. But what we probably won't see is criticism of the lead actress. Yeah, they won't criticize her. Halle Bailey will be like, yo, Halle Bailey will escape unscathed from all of this. Absolutely 100%. The series also received criticism from the screenwriter of the original film, Bob Dolman, who worked on the original film and was brought back to work on the series, told The Hollywood Reporter the series had more of a corporate feeling. He explained it felt like that the studio was over our shoulder quite a bit, the studio being Disney and also Lucasfilm. They had good input, they had good notes, they had good input, they had good notes. You have to move a series along and you have to be involved in it, but I felt like we weren't left alone enough just to toss ideas around and have the kind of freedom that he had when I was working with George and Ron, and not be worried about whether or not an idea was good or bad, but just trying things out and taking a chance and having the courage to even find a bad idea, knowing that it could lead to a good idea. The state of Hollywood writers' rooms. You always have someone peeking over your shoulder. It doesn't matter if it's corporate, if it's the screenwriters, stupid screen readers who are supposed to look over scripts and things and find things that are offensive, so they have to be removed. This is the state of Hollywood writers, of the writers' rooms in Hollywood. It's why things are garbage now. So, in part because of ideology, but also in part is that these studios, they don't want to they don't want to have something fail. The idea of failure is anathema to them, because failure means we lose money. So you can't even have the courage to announce a bad idea that could lead to something good, that could be altered or shifted to something great. No, you have to follow the script for script making. There are a lot of voices, and some of them aren't necessarily voices that know more than the people that have been hired, but those voices are heard and notes are given. In the writing room of the Willow TV series, there was a constant input from other sources outside of the room, so it felt to me like we were never really alone in the room. Nevertheless, he also added the creative process was a really happy experience, and a lot of that got through onto the screen. I would say no, but that's definitely true for some writers, Joe. Well, but I would say some of them are like Mr. Dolman here, are just like, I'm here to write things and people keep getting in the way. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. The series also attempted to normalize the sin of sodomy. Aaron Kellyman, who played Jade in the series, explained to the Hollywood Reporter, "I think it's so beautifully written. It's been so beautifully created." This is one of the shots in the story, by the way.
Okay, so does one girl finger the other girl's butthole?
I have no idea.
Okay, because there's
Actually, no, that's not a scene that happens. But I have no idea where he's pulling this from.
because I don't think gay women are less likely to commit sodomy than gay men.
True. Like, by the way, these are the two lesbian princesses. So this is the princess, and she is wearing a magical piece of armor that, her father spent all his last days searching for because it can defeat the evil. And then this is her lesbian lover, and he was a member of the knightly order that only accepted males for generations. She got in on an exception.
I guess they chose sodomy just to make themselves sound less homophobic.
I guess. It's not a story where they're hypersexualized. It's just two people being in love. The gender is secondary, and they're just in love with each other. I think it's really beautiful and also needed. I think anybody that is struggling with realizing they're gay, or know somebody that's realizing they're gay, having this normalized representation is just so important. I don't see how that's the sin of sodomy.
I mean, okay. So if you need to see people on TV behaving the way you do to validate yourself, you've got serious mental issues. You need to talk to a doctor. You don't need to watch movies. You need professional help.
The series' reported cancellation comes after Walt Disney Company's CEO, Bob Iger, indicated that he would be making cuts across the company, and even larger properties like Marvel and Star Wars would be affected. Bob, if you're watching this, cancel The Acolyte. It's gonna be a failure. No one wants it.
Oh God, I forgot about The Acolyte.
I cannot wait for
We
The
did a whole
Acolyte.
video about it.
That might be something I actually sit down and watch, because there's no way it's not going to be hilariously awful.
Yeah, it's just putting the idea that there's good people who practice the dark side. It's just like, yeah, go watch our Lily Orchard series.
It's like, and here's the thing about, okay, so I have a question for you. Do you know what stolen valor is?
I don't think so.
Okay, so it is actually a crime. So basically what it is if you claim to be part of the military, any military, so you claim to have served, and you get actual like physical compensation for that. So say if I were to go to the if I were to go to a store and be like, I'm a veteran and here's my, military ID, fake a military ID, go to a store and receive a veteran's discount. That is me benefiting materially from stolen valor. I've never actually, because I have not served. So that I can be arrested and tried for that crime. This stuff is what it feels like to me. This feels like stolen valor, because here's the thing: in the 2000s, there were shows that dealt with there were shows that had gay characters in them, and they had romances, and nobody really cared. There was a whole show called Queer as Folk, and the whole show is about gay people. And then you have, the gay romances that popped up in soap operas. Like there was that show Hit the Floor. So when people say it's like, oh, it's good representation, I'm like, we already had that. We don't need it anymore. We already had that. You don't get to take credit as if you're the first people to think, oh, we have lesbians on the screen. We have lesbians that actually kiss on the screen. Haha, we've done it first. Mini rant within a larger examination. All right. During a recent appearance at a Morgan Stanley conference, the Hollywood Reporter noted, Iger said, "I'm really pleased that the support and that I'm getting from the content creators of the company is significant and real, and it comes in the form of reducing the expense per content, whether it's a TV series or film, where costs have just skyrocketed in a huge way and not a supportable way, in my opinion. They all agree to that." Basically, what he said is, these people have started costing me money. They will no longer be costing me money. He also noted that they understand how much volume we need, reducing how much we make. So how much we spend on what we make, how much we make. What? Yeah, Bob Iger is being, he reiterated the company would be cutting the amount of movies and shows they produce. And as we look to reduce the content that we are creating for our own platforms, there probably are opportunities to license to third parties. This is what's going to happen, by the way. For a while, it was verboten or something we couldn't possibly do because we were favoring our own streaming platforms. But if we get to a point where we need less content for those platforms and we still have the capability of producing that content, why not use it to grow revenue? And that's what we will likely do. So here's another thing in recent Disney-based news. No, Joe Crazy, he's telling you, he's dressing it up, but he's telling you exactly what's going on. First, his first statement, this one, is basically saying, these people have cost me money. We have made failure after failure after failure. That's unacceptable. We need to focus on profit. And then, and now he's telling you how really bad it is for Disney Plus, because the consideration is that they're considering licensing things to third parties. So basically, because of Kathleen Kennedy's inability to, produce anything good out of George Lucas's legacy, now Disney is having to and because Marvel has been a shit show since Phase 4, Disney Plus is dying. Like, it's losing subscribers in the millions. I think the last figure I saw was like 400 million. 400 million subscribers. And so now we see the consequences of having someone who is seemingly malicious and vindictive towards the creations of one, and that being Kathleen Kennedy with Lucasfilm, and utter incompetence and social media addiction of the other, that being Marvel, Disney's two biggest powerhouses that got them through the 2000s, because Disney was in like, I'm gonna rewind. Hold on. Ooh, here we go. So 1998. That's when the original Little Mermaid came out. That's
1988.
What?
It was 1988.
Did I say 1888?
No, you said 1998.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, Little Mermaid was what kicked off the Renaissance.
yes. But where Disney was as a company before that, they weren't doing well.
Nope. Yeah.
So
Apparently the Black Cauldron nearly killed Disney.
yeah, exactly.
Like I rewatched the movie a little while ago. It's okay.
Yeah, but
Not-
it was a flop. So what this time was, so 1988 comes around. The Little Mermaid is released. Gangbusters. People love it. Beauty and the Beast comes out next. Gangbusters again. And people love it. Hunchback of Notre Dame comes out somewhere in between. Then you have, of course, what else?
Oh, I'm trying to look up the order.
Toy Story? No, not Toy Story. So it's Beauty and the Beast,
Okay,
Lion
so-
King, and then one more.
Okay, so the order is Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas. No, Hercules. The list I'm saying says that Hercules came after Hunchback, but I swear it was the other way around.
It
I
doesn't
guess not.
really
No,
matter.
Hunchback, Hercules, Mulan, and then Tarzan.
Yeah, so the big three out of there are Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Lion King. Sustained Disney through, or at least Disney animation, through the 90s. But the 2000s roll around. Disney has clawed its way back. But Iger, who's in charge still, no, not Iger. Who was before Iger?
Let's see.
Eisner? Michael Eisner?
Trying to remember. Hold on a sec. Yeah, Michael Eisner.
So Eisner, basically his strategy for entering the 2000s is to buy studios. So they do that. It doesn't help them too much because they're still like under the weight of huge amounts of debt. And their financial prospects are tanking. So they buy more. So they acquire Marvel. Eventually they acquire Lucasfilm. And put things into production. So now they've had almost 3 to 4 years straight of everything they've had come out lambasted by audiences. They don't watch them. They don't tune in. They're not subscribing to the streaming. They're not subscribed to the streaming. They're not sticking around for the streaming. They're not paying for it. So they're done. People are done. And they don't want Disney products anymore. And so now this is the sort of bird coming home. This is sort of the consequences of what they've done coming home to roost. In that you have Kathleen Kennedy, someone that in charge of one of your divisions that has no idea either she is so dumb she doesn't understand that she's destroying everything that George Lucas created, or she is so malicious that she wants to destroy everything George Lucas created. I don't know which one. I lean towards malice. And then you have Marvel, which has been a shit show since like ever. Like digging into the history of Marvel would be insane. But since I'm just about done, I figure why don't we take a look at this trailer and give, oh hey, look, it's us. Say hello.
Hey,
Why don't we take a look at this trailer? Because I think I've watched a little bit of it. Or I think I've seen it. But I don't remember all of it. Shall we?
yes, that's
Okay,
that
see,
he's so old.
yeah, he is. Like, here's the thing. There was a review that was like Harrison Ford maintains his charm as Indiana Jones. I'm like, no, I don't know about you, but everything I've seen Harrison Ford in, at least recently, he's played the same character. He is a grumpy old man who's done with everybody else's shit. And I think the thing with Harrison Ford is at this point, he actually is that person. The dude's almost 90. And he still gets pulled in for shit like this that he
Yeah.
knows is going to be crap. It's like, that's why he called Chris Pratt up, or supposedly called Chris Pratt up when Disney approached him about potentially being Indy. He's like, no, do not, because I want to kill that character. I want it to die. I want it to die with me.
Yeah,
Because I want to preserve it.
yeah. I wasn't surprised that Han Solo died in Force Awakens because I've always heard that Harrison Ford just kind of hates Star Wars.
I don't understand why Harrison Ford hates Star Wars.
I guess because he hates that it defines his career, or he thinks that it does. Kind of like how Leonard Nimoy used to hate being Spock for the longest time.
True. Next summer. Okay, hold up. We're gonna talk about how we're gonna talk about Indiana Jones not believing in magic despite having witnessed actual fucking magic. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about the fact that he literally watched someone rip a still beating heart from a person without using any knives? Can we talk about the fact that he saw the Ark of the Covenant opening and saw the results of the Ark of the Covenant opening? Can we talk about how he witnessed an immortal Arthurian knight who tested him involving in- finding the holy fucking grail? Or should we talk about the fucking aliens? Indiana Jones not believing in magic is sort of stupid. Him being like, yeah, these are things with great power, or with great sort of mystical and arcane power, but they're
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
they've been empowered by other things, by like deities and shit.
yeah, it's really strange. It's sort of,
It's
I guess because they don't know how to write a character that's progressed. They only know how to start from scratch.
true.
Like everybody remembers Indy as being this kind of gruffy guy who doesn't believe in anything. So we're just gonna do that over again. It's like Han Solo. People like like J.J. Abrams was like, yeah, Han progressed as a character throughout the original trilogy, but everybody remembers him as the way he was in the first movie. So let's go back to that. Character development be damned.
How do you like de-aged Harrison Ford?
Hold on, let me see it again. It's
De-aged
uncanny,
Harrison
but I've
Ford.
seen worse.
Yeah, but it begs the question. And I know he probably had a hand in keeping like everybody fucking away from this role, but why didn't you hire someone younger that looks and make up them to be Harrison Ford, just younger? You did it with Solo, a Star Wars story. Why are we de-aging him now?
Hell, we did it with the Young Indiana Jones series.
We could do, or they did it with Hayden Christensen in Obi-Wan Kenobi. God, we didn't talk about Kenobi. I prefer to pretend like that didn't actually exist, but you know, we both know it does. Ugh. And he's fighting Nazis again.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would have got. I wish they could have kept the Russian thing going.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
yeah, World War II is over, so now it's now about Russia.
Right? The Soviets are the enemy. But remember, the people in the Hollywood writers' room like the Soviets. Let me put your tail through this thing and snap it down. I want to see what happens.
If you're gonna abuse your cat, do it when the camera's not rolling.
It's one of those loose drawer handles. It wouldn't have hurt him.
So was that him?
What?
So was that him riding around in New York post World War II? Like
I guess it
right when the
looks
war's
like it.
over?
I'm honestly like, I'm not even interested in anything they've shown me so far, because it's like, oh, you've just reverted Indiana Jones back to what he was in his first movie. So all of the things he went through and all of the understanding he got and the perspective he sort of got after or the first movie, that's gone. That's gone now. I don't know. They had a thing with the Russians at the end of the third movie, in the third movie, but that was like, and then they had, was she Russian or was she just like a mercenary or something in Crystal Skull?
I think she was Russian.
I think she was too.
Yeah, she had an accent.
Yeah, it was like, oh, here's Indiana Jones. Like one thing about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is it feels like an Indiana Jones movie at the very least. You can rewatch it and be like, that was an Indiana Jones movie. It's a little weird and bad, but you know, it's an Indiana Jones movie. This, I'm not getting that vibe. This feels like, I don't know, someone trying to, it feels like plagiarized fan fiction.
Or perhaps like a like an AI trying to figure out the Indiana Jones formula.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, good try.
I know what that is.
Yeah, good try. That's,
Hey guys, it's a big ball. You remember that from the first movie, right?
yeah. I hope we're not deafening all of you, because this sounds loud to me.
I'm not hearing anything at all.
Oh, hold on. I didn't share screen audio.
Oops.
Oops. Window. There we go. Sorry, guys. I don't know what my cat did, but this is what it looks like now. Oh, y'all can't see that. Okay, so that's only me. All right, I don't know what you did, but my computer looks weird now.
If you let him walk on your keyboard.
Okay, the music here is like indie adjacent.
Hey guys, remember when Indiana Jones rode on the horse at the end of the third movie? Wasn't that cool?
Who is this man?
I'm her godfather.
related.
Get back.
Very nimble for an old man.
What the fuck? Oh, and you can also like, why is there his goddaughter? Why goddaughter? Doesn't he have like a son?
We do not talk
Kingdom of
about
the
Shia
Crystal. I
LaBeouf.
distinctly remember his son is Shia LaBeouf from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and it's from like that the girl from the second movie is supposedly the mother, right?
A girl from the first movie.
Girl from the first movie. Okay,
Yeah,
I thought it was girl from the second.
yeah. I mean, they could have made it to where this girl was his granddaughter.
Yeah, his granddaughter. But
Like,
you know, because she is a female character in the movie, she will be like the one to figure everything out. Oh, she'll be just like, oh, he's just so old and doddering, and I'm progressive and know things better. Or like, oh, it's like that new show on Netflix called Fubar. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger and like it's an Arnold Schwarzenegger production, but he's got a daughter and she's like always the one to figure things out. Ow. Ow.
was that you hissing or the cat?
It was me hissing. It usually gets him to stop biting me because he knows he's hurting me at that point. Oh yeah, all of Indiana Jones is getting erased because of time travel. That's what the Dial of Destiny does. It time travels. Well, so that's not gonna be at all,
Oh God!
used to destroy something, destroy, everything.
Please don't tell him it's going to be like Endgame, where we revisit events from previous movies.
No, I don't think so. Possibly. Why did he do that? Why would he? Okay, so this is presumably he knows this is a room full of enemies. Why is he not trying to subtly make his way out of the room, or just leaping through the window on his own? Why did he whip crack? Can tell everybody to get back, as if they were actively assaulting him, or some sort of animals. What?
Well, that seemed very uninteresting.
Yeah.
All right, got anything else?
I do not. I do not. Mostly because that was all I had. I just wanted to go over my thoughts on how George Lucas's legacy has effectively been, destroyed by these people who don't like it or would rather put their own ideas into or would rather put their own ideas onto the screen because their ideas are so much better than these old ideas that were, good. Things that made, w- Star Wars and Indiana Jones and Willow, within reason, successful. Well, we're not gonna put any of that behind there. We're just gonna leave it alone. We're gonna put our own ideas because we're better. We are superior. Oh, big time. Big time, Joe. But that was all I had. Do you have anything, Caesar?
Nope, I got none.
All right. Then I think we will call it here. I hope you all enjoyed. Please do remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, tune in tomorrow. I will be streaming a continuation of my Pokemon Black 2 Nuzlocke.
So how many times have you died now?
This will be, I think we're still on attempt 19.
Christ, man.
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to start from the beginning every time your party gets wiped out?
Yep. Starter choice. I have to choose a new starter every time and beat all the gyms again. I've only made it to Gem 7 so far. That's how hard this is. This is one of the hardest games to Nuzlocke. Because the gyms are not easy. Even if they all only have 3 Pokemon. But yeah, so join me tomorrow. I'll be streaming that from 2 to probably 4 to 5:30, or not 4 for like 2 to 5 or 2 to 4:30, somewhere in there. Or leave a like if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below if you disagree with me. That I'd be interested to see what y'all's take on this is. So thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.